There's a question I want to investigate, and I thought, why not share this reading with others who may be interested in it? You may have heard there's an article that I linked in the description from the Miami Herald. And it reports that there are the Epstein victims since the client list from Epstein's esteemed guest, so much so that they made his Rolodex. That list that hasn't been or won't be released, the victims are now going to compile through their own networking a list of whose names they know of, they've experienced, they had to deal with. And, that leads a question. We have Jeffrey Epstein himself, who, well, check out the other readings that are done on this channel on Jeffrey Epstein. There's a couple of them. Just do a search for Epstein. Some of them I do think are quite interesting. Among them, the nature of Epstein's death. I'm not going to spoil the outcomes of those, so you can take a look at it. But we all know what basically happened to Epstein, at least the public storyline. And we also are aware of how Ghislaine, our Grizzly Maxwell, that partner in Epstein's exploitation. We all know how she has worked out quite the wonderful deal for herself. And since the list is not coming out, at least from the official sources and from Hello and from the various resources that are out there, that have been compiled for how many years now through those very victim testimonies, right? I'd like to know, are the combined voices of the Epstein victims, are they going to be enough to go and bring this list to light and these names and these people to go and account for what they've done? Or are these victims basically the same level of vulnerability as Virginia Giuffre? And there's actually an audio tape, which I recommend you looking. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. That I do recommend if you're curious about Virginia Giuffre. She did leave a tape to be released if she died untimely, if she had an untimely death. And it's very, very chilling and very, very interesting. I strongly recommend you go and listen to that. It's very sad. But anyway, yes, that's the question that we're doing here. We're going to go and see, will the Epstein list get out? Will the victims finally bring their abusers to light, these wealthy power players of our society, of global society? Or are they going to be just another casualty, another death like Virginia? Thank you for the like. So let's go and see. This Epstein victim list. In fact, I want to use a different set of cards. I'm going to use these. Let's go and see. Hello. So, Epstein's victims compiling their own list. will, let's see, how should we phrase this? There are three questions in one, actually. The first one is, will their list come to light? Let's go and start off with right there. We have this list. Abbreviated, speculated forms of it have been released, but we still haven't had an official draw. Will the Epstein victims be able to go and compile and publicize the list of names that apparently a lot of people don't want out? So I have 6 of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. Three of Cups. Well, they're definitely banding together, the Epstein victims. It seems like they do have some sort of support and power behind them. I am going to say that. With Hierophant here and the Lovers, I'm not quite sure in this energy. For instance, do they have nonprofit entities around sex trafficking supporting them? Is this there is some sort of somebody with deep pockets? But my question with the Hierophant is, I'm just throwing out the feelings I'm getting. Are we looking at more nonprofits than necessarily government and government entities or even religious entities? Are we looking at literally the nonprofit advocacy around sex trafficking and highlighting and solving those issues? Magician, Seven of Swords, Knight of Wands. This does tell me that the Epstein victims, they do have some significant support. That significant support, however, is perfectly fine to go and give their cause strength, but they prefer. I do on this energy, they're being supported by a grassroots effort. Perhaps some of them or some of these supporters are people from money and power, but they aren't into broadcasting who they are to the general public. There's some silent workers, and a few of them, I would say, are quite significant. This support, they definitely have determination how they conduct themselves. And this, it feels like like it could be financial resources, it could be time as well. I'm going to say in this, they definitely are working towards some very physical, tangible blocks. Definitely it's time. I feel like it's time and money. Maybe they only have before they can't. They won't be able to. Gets a Seven of Pentacles. More than enough information. Yes, they want to create that change. They have some blocks. Energy with Two of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. They're going to have to be real in this energy every day, every week that it takes for them to have momentum. So I'll see if this one is better. This. What was I saying? I feel like they've tried to go and get their information out prior. They weren't getting very far in single groups or small groups. This is the largest concerted effort that they ever had to date. And they also, all the Epstein survivors, the Epstein victims, they're actually the strongest that they've ever, strongest position they've been in to date. But they definitely have a whole lot of negative forces against them. They definitely have a strong wall against them. And also, too, let me say in the energy that I have before I explore these, the Epstein victims, they're aware of that. They're aware of that very keenly because they know what it's like to go against or to be in the situation of trying to get justice and also trying to get visibility and bring accountability out. Accountability that's based on justice and not your finances and what you have. They're very, very aware of what they're against, what they're working on, the blocks that are already in place, because each and every one of those victims, they have been telling their story, I feel, up to this point, vocally as individuals, and they know what it's like to go and meet with a brick wall. So that energy is really amazing when you think about it, because these women already know what it's like to be dismissed, and they're grouping together for another big push, a phase 2 evolution in letting the public know what happened, and they're not deterred. So it's very strong energy there, very, very noble energy, very dedicated energy. I mean, these women are sacrificing a lot. These women already sacrificed a lot, and they're doing it not so much for, it's like they're doing it for the sake of society, for us to know what's been going on. There's no tangible benefit here other than literally they are doing this for the fabric of society. It's very strong energy. So, where should we start with first? I do want to check out Hermit. I'm also curious about the Seven of Pentacles too. But Seven of Pentacles is also like the experience. Their experience of everything they know and have learned up to now, who their enemies are, what sort of assets they have, the teamwork that they have. They're very aware too of their narrow window of time and resources, very highly aware of that. They're very serious too. I mean, they know that that they could end up like Virginia Giuffre. So Hermit gets a Knight of Wands, Six of Wands, Ten of Cups. Bottom of the deck energy, Empress, the Moon, Two of Swords, Nine of, they definitely know that, how far they've gotten as individuals trying to share their story. And just very determined energy. I'm also going to say with the Moon and the Empress, there's more to either how, something about how we view women in general, how we view positive women, how we view strong women, how we view women who are setting out from the mold. There is something here about that as well, like, or women trying to make their way and find improvements, finding improvements, or trying to go and get ahead, being exploited for their very traits of femininity. Hermit clarified by Knight of Wands, Six of Wands, and Ten of Cups. Well, this is their hope and their ideal, and their hope and their ideal that they've been actually laboring towards for a while. These women understand that, you know, going through this process, it's their calling. They're not really getting any necessary benefit personally for it, but it's a story that they feel that has to be shared and has to be told. It's a story that they need to also go and resolve as part of their life journey. So this has already haunted them for a ridiculously long time. This will continue to haunt them. They're very motivated to go and see justice. So the first question we were exploring is, will this list come to light? First of all, I'm going to say in the energy that I have here, they're not going to stop until it does. They're not going to level off and say, well, this is as far as I went. Nothing more I can do. Oh, well, I guess I'll just live my life. I really feel that the victims that are in this group that the Miami Herald was listing, they're going to see it to the end. Death. Let's take a look at death. Death gets the Empress, Knight of Pentacles, and Six of Cups. Okay. Considering the question, I'm going to say what a rocky road we have. So I was already talking about bottom of the deck energy with Empress, Moon, Two of Swords, and whatever other energy was back there. You can pull the video back and see. But with Empress here, Knight of Pentacles, Six of Cups, under the question that we asked, under death. These women do hold a lot of power. They hold a lot of knowledge. And the things that they know, the names they can name, are and maybe some other details they can share, very damning. They definitely have the goods to blow this all up. They have the ability to do that. Their knowledge, their experience, their recollection, what they know, what they can name, what they can, the very storehouse of information that collectively they have is very powerful. And I'm going to say too, probably in this energy here with Knight of Pentacles, Six of Cups, all under death. I would also say that as these women are probably or people, because we know that it's just not women, right? They're victims. There are men and women. If I was saying just women initially, I apologize, because we know that there were both men and women who were exploited on Epstein's Island. But let me say, in this energy, I feel like as those victims have gotten together and collaborated details, they've actually have created or are creating a very well-rounded or a 3D hologram or diagram, a 3D plan of the whole situation. As they get together, as they've been joining their pieces of their memories together like a puzzle, and they've been seeing just not their part, that they were aware of and what they did and who they know, but now they're seeing how what they experienced and what they know and who they know, how that either becomes more fully fleshed into, like, let's say, individuals, the full gamut of that individual, and where that individual links up to others. This is nothing to snarf at. The combined recollections and memories of Epstein's victims coming together and discussing this. They got some very powerful knowledge, and they're very determined people. 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles gets a 9 of Wands. 7, lots of fire here, right? 7 of Wands, 2 of Wands, King of Swords. So first of all, let me say that the victims know, again, it's just reiterated here in the cards that I have, no one knows better the forces that they're against, and also, too, their finite resources of time and money. No one knows better of the constraints that they're working against, than the Epstein victims and the people who are supporting them. No one knows better. They are acutely aware of this. I'm also going to say, too, they know that it all comes down to strategy, how they play it out, and when they play it out. And in the energy that I have here, the sooner they come out with that knowledge, the better. The only thing I feel that's right now keeping them from sharing that list publicly, the only thing is they probably have to work out some sort of either, it's like the details. So whether those are legal details, whether that is staggering out the timing of the releases, making sure everyone is protected. There's some sort of small but important details, like the way, for instance, if I was to use an analogy of what I'm feeling right now, you could have 20 people, you can hire 20 people to work in an office. But if those 20 people, they don't have a desk, they don't have a chair, they don't have a platform, they don't have any tools to work with, what can they get done other than just being in a space together? And I feel like in the energy that I have here, there's some sort of organization they have to do between the members, the information. There's some sort of logistic organization they need to do before they distribute the information. I don't know if it's legal in the energy that I have here, but there's details. And that's exemplified here in 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 2 of Wands. They know in this energy they can't act hastily. They've been waiting a long time. They're impatient, yes, but they know they have to be smart about it. Or they're being advised, 6 of Pentacles, they're being advised to be smart about it. There's something about the way that they move, how they can move, that they have to really watch it. I feel part of it is definitely safety. I feel another part of it is legal. Because their actions are hampered. And because their actions are hampered, it affects their words. They can't move freely right now. And they're figuring out how to do that. They know it's an issue of life and death. So will that list be released? Will their list be released? I'm actually going to say in this energy that I have here, they have a pretty good repository of information right now. If they don't have the list ready now, they have a really good outline of the list. They definitely have some dynamite to roll with. but there's some sort of small administrative glue or details that's stopping them from releasing it. As I said, I don't know what those small administrative details are. They could release it now. There's something about timing. Will this list get released? It's a hope. They're really, really determined to do so. It is a hope and a challenge. I'm also going to say here with Six of Pentacles, there's some cards that I do see aligned with with star energy. Although if we were going on zodiac signs, for instance, like this would be a Taurus energy, that's Aquarius energy. And I do feel Six of Pentacles leans into justice, for instance. But I also feel on the flip side, or just as equally, Six of Pentacles does lean into the star. Because this is working for change, working to balance, working for ideals, laboring for ideals. There's definitely a very strong star energy that's motivating a Six of Pentacles. So in the energy of, will they release the list? They're trying their hardest. They really are. It's a noble cause that they wholeheartedly believe in, and they believe it's necessary. All I know is that right now I have very strong hopes and wishes, but they can't move as fast as they'd like to because there's some sort of, there's details that they have to respect. And there's details that they have to make sure those are solid before they publicize anything. But I think right now they already have something accrued. Even though they made the announcement that they are present tense developing the list, in this energy, I'm going to say, I think they pretty much have that list down packed. They're only publicizing it now. That list is probably ready to roll. There's something that's stopping them from rolling it out right now. Now, the next question, which I actually feel this reading did touch upon, but I want to take a closer look at it, is are there too many victims to silence? Are all these victims going to end up like Virginia Giuffre? I already have the energy of the collective mindset of the victims and what they're doing and their supporters. I think it definitely is, well, that list is already compiled, first and foremost. List is already done, I'd say. Legal or safety or both. There's only just that something about that before they can release it. That's what's called giving them pause. So will they release it? It's out there. It's created. They hope so. There's some technical detail that's there. Very motivated to do so. And right now I'm going to say signs are positive. And I'm also, before I move on to that second part of the question, I also want to share that what I'm getting is that this is the closest the victims have ever been to getting this success of coordination, of publicity, of support. This is the most they've ever been. This is the highest they've ever been in this journey that they've been in. Maybe those were talking almost Kamala Harris, like with the same words, but this is the closest they've been to success. This is the farthest they've gone in this endeavor. Now, are there too many to silence, or will they end up like a Virginia? Let's go and see what will happen. Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles, Six of Wands. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to say that I think there's too many to silence. My only question is there's too many to silence, but a little disturbing energy I have here. You know, like the world is there's a couple cards to me that are finicky. World is a finicky energy. Ace of Pentacles is a drawn out energy. Will they, what was the question? Will they end up like Virginia, or are there too many to silence? In this energy, first and foremost, time. In time, they will be successful because they have really dedicated people behind them. They have relentless people behind them. In time, yes, they're going to be successful. Ace of Pentacles, strength, struggle, Chariot. Oh, well, Chariot wants to come out. I guess I'll take Chariot. And Ace of Wands. Okay, we got strong women here. Let's go in. I do think I wanted to stop for 1 second and just say we should all definitely send our blessings. Let's go and send our blessings and support to the Epstein victims for what they are doing, because they know some really nasty sides of humanity and they are refusing to accept it. So I would like, anyone who's watching this, please do send your blessings and your well wishes to those victims, because ultimately they're doing this for us, for society, for us to be aware of what's going on right in front of our faces and to change that. Very strong people. Very strong people. Ace of Pentacles, strength, Five of Wands, Ace of Wands, and the Chariot. Whoa, bottom of the deck energy, the Queen. We have some really strong people. They are strong people. Really strong people. They know exactly what they're against, and they know exactly what they're fighting against, and they're not going to give up. I do see that there are too many to silence. I also do see in this energy, I think they've taken more hits than what we know about with, for instance, Virginia Giuffre. I think they themselves know of some hits that have been going on that haven't been, or have went on, that haven't been publicized. They've seen, and they're quite aware of just how high the stakes are in terms of life and death. And this is a higher calling. This is something that needs to get out, and they are wholeheartedly believing in it. Definitely too many to silence. In time, I feel this list is going to get out in its entirety. There could be a high cost here, and I think that's what the Six of Pentacles and the other energy from the first reading was all about, that timing and that waiting. They're trying to do everything as safely and as intelligently and as effectively as possible. But the victims will succeed. That's what I have here. I'm a little disturbed with the indication of time. I mean, this energy here, Chariot, like strength is like they've already spent a lot of time in the trenches. Ace of Wands and the Chariot. Yeah, this is pretty quick energy, but the thing about Chariot energy too, Chariot energy speaks of history. you know, you just don't go and get into chariot energy overnight, or like blink your eyes and bam, chariot energy, blink your eyes and you're not in chariot energy. There's a momentum here that fuels the drive. Ace of Wands is pretty quick energy. Five of Wands energy can spring up of nowhere. Same thing with strength, right? Strength doesn't necessarily have to connotate time. Ace of Pentacles definitely does. Chariot does. So there are elements in here that speak of a lot of time has already passed. And as I said, the one thing that disturbs me, it speaks of some time yet to come. It's not a fast thing. They're definitely working against time. They've always been working against time. And perhaps those are those people who we don't know, those victims we don't know, who have already been silenced outside of the media knowing who they are and reporting on them. Already been casualties past Virginia Giuffre. And this is not something that necessarily is going to be like that, but they will get justice. We will know. Too many decisions. They've gone too, the other people, the abusers, they've gone too far. Their names will get out. All right, that's my reading. If anyone has any questions or feelings or thoughts, let me know in the comments. What do you think about his victims releasing their own list? Take a look at the article. I did link it in the description. And let me know about also, what are your thoughts on Maxwell's sweetheart deal? Everything that she did, the role that she played, the connection she has. And tell me too, what do you think about the victims? Do you think that there's too many to silence and that the word justice will get out? Or let me know if you think that they'll all be silenced, or there's some verb that I kind of forget right now, but or like Epstein, offed, right? Well, that person is no longer Epstein, no longer here. Virginia Giuffre, actually dead, right? And do send out that blessing for the victims and their safety. Let them stay protected and blessed, because they're on a higher goal, and that goal is definitely one for us as a society. Until next time, everybody, bye-bye.